Hello class, this is my lecture for you for the third week of class. I am hoping for more opportunity to work with each of you individually. Please use the email system within Blackboard. If there is a time for live office half hours that works in your schedule, please let me know either through email or through the Ask the Professor discussion forum. I really think it's important for us to have more quality time together in terms of your learning and my learning too as I teach. This is a relatively new experience for me teaching online, and I'm still adjusting to the opportunities and the limitations of this method of teaching. The first installment is due this third week of class. I'm looking for at least 1,000 words, and it should be a fairly detailed description of the medical facility that you have chosen for your term project. The outline, such as it is provided in the syllabus. Basically, in this first installment, I'm looking for the identification of the hospital or similar medical facility and information about that institution. I'm particularly interested in the type of ownership, the mission of the organization, the range of services it offers, and so forth. It should be a facility that you know something about, or that you have the ability to learn something about, either in person or via the internet or by other means. The learning objectives for this week regard strategic planning in healthcare organizations. Strategic planning is something that the chief information officers, the chief executive officer, the IT steering committee, the board of trustees, and others must do and must continue to do over time in order to make sure that the organization has direction and that the decisions that are made on a day-to-day basis fit into a larger context which makes sense. Now, the book describes strategic planning as it is traditionally taught. In other words, the time frame is 3 to 5 years and perhaps even longer. And the book describes a rational approach to setting goals and objectives and anticipating the purchases and acquisitions that will be necessary in order to get from here to there. There is nothing wrong with any of that. But I'm going to offer you the opinion that that is an incomplete understanding of what strategic planning involves. It was a more complete description, in my opinion, in past years. But today, the environment of organizations, I don't mean the natural environment, I mean the business and political environment of organizations, is so rapidly changing that I don't know that it's feasible to plan 3, 5, or even 10 years into the future. Yes, there should be some sense of where we are and where we hope to go in the future. There's nothing wrong with that. But I personally believe that the organization must also be agile, especially in today's environment, which is dynamic. Think of the metaphor of a football team. The football team on the field needs to know which goalposts that it's headed toward. Otherwise, its effort to execute plays is going to be rather random and hazardous. But the players must also be agile enough, flexible enough to take advantage of unexpected opportunities along the way. There are, in my opinion, several reasons why this older notion of what it means to do strategic planning is incomplete. It's incomplete because the world does not stand still while the organization or the team executes its plays. It's incomplete because technology is moving at such a fast pace that it is making available opportunities that cannot always be anticipated years in the future. The strategic planning, as it's usually described, is based upon a notion of what I would call a static stability. In other words, a stability based upon being grounded in one reality or one situation. Sitting in a chair is a static stability. I'm not likely to fall out of this chair that I'm sitting in because I'm not doing anything that would cause me to tumble out of the chair. And if I want to eventually move to that chair across the room, I can think about how I'm going to get from here to there and make long-term plans about that transition. But the reality of today's world is that both the environment is dynamic and organizations themselves are dynamic and complex. And so I believe that hoping for a static stability is unrealistic. I think the best we can hope for, and there's nothing wrong with it, is a dynamic stability. Think about how a person learns to ride a bicycle. People do not generally learn to balance on a stationary bicycle before they begin to pedal, on the assumption that a static stability is preferable or easier than a dynamic stability. The reality is, when you're riding a bicycle, the only way to stay on top of it, unless you're really good, is to pedal forward. And the stability that you achieve is a dynamic stability. You are continually falling, but you learn to continually steer in the direction of the fall, and you move forward in the process. That, to me, is the essence of strategic planning in modern times. The book in this chapter, at the end of the chapter, talks about systems theory. And this is an acknowledgement of the fact that strategic planning should involve an understanding of complex dynamic systems. But I don't think the book adequately describes why systems theory is relevant to strategic planning. It is relevant because environments are dynamic, organizations are complex and messy, and decisions have indirect consequences. I only have a few more seconds to go here. It's the difference between understanding reality as a simple sequence of causes and events, and understanding reality as the interaction of things as they bounce off of each other. So please do read the book, and please think about what I've talked to you about, and I hope that this has been helpful. Thank you.